Good evening, YouTube. You guys are now watching Technique Tuesday presented to you by TheCaliEffect. Today we're going to be going over intimidation, how to intimidate your opponent, how to not to be intimidated by your opponent, and such things. The biggest thing that I see people make mistake of is getting intimidated by an opponent. And what you don't realize is that on itself can cost you the game. When you play this game in a competitive circuit, you're going to need the confidence to go against any player no matter what they have. Now, I see the biggest thing that people get intimidated over is a spell ground mat and a T90 calculator and white sleeves. That is probably the plethora of quote-unquote pro players and Yu-Gi-Oh! And anybody in that circuit wants to be good will typically have that. I know this isn't a T90 calculator. Mr. Samuffin has mine, but we'll definitely go into it. Normally when a person, let's say if you put it down and you just started shuffling your deck, blah, 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 and you just have your calculator down, you really don't say much. You just say high roll or low roll. Yeah. Pretty much puts the pressure on your opponent. Your opponent thinks, oh my god, he's running the shit. You could be running battling boxers for all they care, and they're going to think you're the shit. It's really just the appearance that you give off to the opponent. It's how it's going to pretty much decide it. Now, in that same way, when you see somebody with a T90 calculator and a spellground mat, you can don't be intimidated. That's the biggest thing. Be cool, calm, collected. Try to get your game as good as possible. Just do not be intimidated because the mental is half the battle. I've seen so many people lose just mentally before they lost in the actual game. It's people that'll open Godsend and then just lose because of what the opponent is doing, how the opponent is playing. And then another big thing is to read your opponent throughout the whole game. If I'm sitting down with my Pro Mat sleeves white or my Player's Choice white sleeves, my T90 calculator, my spellground mat, I'm going to be looking at my opponent. I'm going to be seeing what subtle things is he doing. Is he an old player? Is he a new player? It's kind of easy if you're an old player to tell the difference between an older player and a new player. They'll say terms differently or they'll do things differently. A good way to tell if a player has been old and hasn't really been to the new is that they'll call spell cards magic cards. Well, that changed a long time ago. So you can obviously know he's either been playing the game for a very long time or he just got back into the game and hasn't played in a very long time. Those are all deciding factors in this game. It's the mind game. Now, when you see players coming around with the battle pack mat, just putting that down and they have like sleeves that they're using that shouldn't really be played sleeves, you can probably say that they're not that much of a great player. Obviously, Bridgeport sleeves aren't really a good example, but I really don't have any bad sleeves. It's normally with the sleeves with the anime stuff on the back, and it's like a fat stack of cards. You should already know that isn't the premier player, but do not ever let them, don't underestimate them at all. Never. You can still lose to a scrub in this game. It's not that hard. And actually, I'll give you guys a prime example. If you go to a locals that you've never been there, I want you guys to buy a pack of sleeves that has just trash on the back, and then take a battle pack mat, and then for your trade binder, take everything out of your monster binder and put it in one of those Walmart folders. Everybody immediately thinks you're a scrub. You could be playing Dragon Rulers in this type of setup, but everybody will think you're a scrub, and you can catch everybody by surprise just with that type of makeup. Overall, really, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a mind game, and it starts with you. You have to recognize the type of things, like if your opponent is shuffling like this, it's a totally different thing from when they're shuffling like that. Like, it's not even precise shuffles like that. And then if your opponent goes like that, and then, you know, that's just a better shuffle. And you can just tell off of the subtle things if your opponent has been playing in this game long enough, and you can use that to your advantage. But overall, thank you guys for watching another segment of The Cali Effect. Please like, comment, subscribe, but most of all, enjoy.